خاتم الرسل النبيين ومن اتبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. In Surah Al-Anfal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us in Ayah 46, He says, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا فَتَفْشَلُوا وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ وَاصْبِرُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. And this ayah was directed to the Sahaba to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger, and not to argue and disagree and fight. And niza' is to disagree, and it gets to a point where people are just not working together. And the result is what? He says, فَتَفْشَلُوا. Yesterday we talked about failure, and we were reading from that book, Startup Mixology, and the author was talking about failure in one of the chapters, and how failure is something that we can learn from as long as we don't dwell on it too much and turn it into a depressive, excuse. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directing us here and giving us advice and commanding us to obey Allah and His Messenger and not to disagree, because if we disagree and we start arguing, what will happen? We will fail. فَتَفْشَلُوا, and we will fail to the point وَتَذْهَبْ رِيحُكُمْ. Our power and strength will dissipate, will disappear, and it's the least of our power. It's the very least of your power will go. So you're not going to succeed, whether it's a battlefield or a business you're doing or a group of people trying to get together. And then he tells us, وَاصْبِرُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ, and have patience. Indeed, Allah is with the patient people. So disagreements is a natural thing that will happen in groups and teams and communities and families. And the Muslim is someone who goes back to the baseline, goes back to the basis of everything, which is taqwa and pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you might have two spouses and they disagree on something, and then that disagreement turns into a heated discussion, and then that heated discussion turns into criticism, and then the criticism escalates and it becomes now a verbal, fight, and then maybe sometimes it turns physical. And when that happens, what happens to that family? The family becomes weak. It has no power. It has no impact in society, and in some cases it even splits. So the advice here is, what happens if we get to that point where we're disagreeing, we go back to see what Allah and His Messenger say about the topic, right? So someone is disagreeing with the group. What everyone should do in that group, including that person who's disagreeing, is go back and say, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about this matter? And that's what we need to stick to. And if we don't like whatever that matter is, or we don't like the thing we're disagreeing with, then the treatment here, or the kind of medication is wasbiru, is to be patient, because indeed Allah will be with the patient people, the patient group, the group that is trying to always stick together, the group that's trying to do the right thing as directed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger. So just wanted to share this little thought here. If anyone had any questions, feel free to jump in.